The first stretch of the season is over. A fully fledged battle is gaining the momentum in the top leagues, and it is still too early to draw any conclusions about the likely contenders. However, it is still the right moment to assess progress of individual players. Despite the difficult situation in football and the absence of fans in the stands, clubs have spent a lot during the recent transfer window. Today we'll identify top 5 summer transfers who enjoyed the best debuts at their new clubs. Without swinging and adapting, these new players immediately fit into formations of their managers and began the seasons as the most important players of the starting lineup. Please contribute a second of your time to like this video, subscribe, and let's geek it out. Number 5. Achraf Hakimi. Antonio Conte made a name as a manager who relies on those type of wingbacks who are capable of covering the entire flank on their own. In his favored formation with 3 center-backs, a huge responsibility falls on wingbacks, whose activity largely determines the outcome of the game. Last summer, Inter scouts assessed the situation, noting that a talented Achraf Hakimi, owned by Real Madrid, did not really fit into Zidane's philosophy, while on the other hand, perfectly fit in Conte's 3-5-2 formation. In the opening game of the season against Fiorentina, Conte decided to freshen up the right flank, where the tired Ashley Young gave way to the Moroccan newcomer. Achraf immediately assisted Romelu Lukaku. Overall, the Moroccan played in his first 7 Serie A games, 4 of which in the starting 11 and 3 times coming off the bench. In these games, the newly minted right back registered 2 assists and scored 1 goal. Number 4. Emiliano Martinez. Only a miracle saved Aston Villa from relegation in the end of the previous season. The club made a sound conclusion in the summer and carried out one of the most prolific transfer windows in the league. Forward Ollie Watkins, right back Matty Cash, ex-Lyon winger Bertrand Traoré, midfielder Ross Barkley, and goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez joined the Lions. At the end of the last season, Martinez substituted an injured Bernd Leno at Arsenal's goal. Martinez has proven so successful as the starting goalie that it became clear that the player needs to change the club and play the first number elsewhere. Until now, the 28-year-old player has not enjoyed the regular practice in his entire career. The Arsenal Academy graduate has been wandering around on loan spells for 8 years and finally has firmly taken control of the Aston Villa goal. And you know very well with what results the club from Birmingham began their journey in the new season. Number 3. Callum Wilson. 38 goals. This is the exact number of goals that Newcastle managed to net during the entire last season. And only 2 goals in the small piggy bank were contributed by the Brazilian striker Joelinton, who cost Newcastle a record-breaking £44 million fee in the summer of 2019. You do not need to be an expert to realize that there was a big problem with the attack. Steve Bruce understood that with such offensive effectiveness, the team could already pre-book a ticket to EFL Championship. To solve this problem, Newcastle contacted the recently relegated Bournemouth regarding the availability of Callum Wilson. The latter did not have to be persuaded to return to the top-tier league. Right from the start of the new season, Wilson showed Joelinton how a striker should perform on the pitch. After the first 8 rounds, Callum registered 6 goals and 1 assist. Judging by his initial results, we can only guess why other Premier League clubs were so reluctant to compete with Newcastle for this English striker. Number 2. Ivan Rakitic. Sevilla's management continues to show the football industry how to do business. After a short span at Roma, the famous sporting director Monchi returned to his home club to create magic again. In the last Europa League final, Sevilla's starting lineup had 9 players who spent their first season at the club. For example, Suso Fernando, Luuk de Jong, and Sergio Reguilon. A constant squad reshuffle is a standard practice for the club from Andalusia. Last summer, for example, a crucial midfield player, Aver Banega, went to work to the Middle East, and the management found him a replacement in the face of Ivan Rakitic. Barcelona got rid of the midfielder for a ridiculous 1.5 million fee, and Rakitic instantly fitted in the center of the Sevilla formation. However, this season, the Croatian performs different functions than 6 years ago. Lopetegui has given full freedom to the 32-year-old central midfielder. Now, Rakitic is more responsible for creativity, delivers long balls at any distance, and overall sets the pace of Sevilla's attacks. Number 1. James Rodriguez. If the intrigue of this episode existed, then it was definitely not about the winner. You have probably already guessed whose transfer turned out to be the most striking breakthrough, not only in the Premier League, but most likely among all the European top tiers. In the third club in a row, the current Everton manager Carlo Ancelotti gives shelter to the long-struggling Colombian James Rodriguez. At one time, James moved to Real Madrid as a rising world star, and his transfer was the third most expensive deal in the history of the Madrid club. You know what happened next. A 2-year roaming around the Bayern Munich bench could not revive the player's career, while last season with Real Madrid was frankly a torment. James may have won the La Liga medal, but his 8 appearances that season was a scarce contribution to the title win. Ancelotti is well aware of the Colombian's strengths and weaknesses. The Italian manager gave the player more freedom, while his possible defensive mistakes are covered by a powerful triangle which is represented by Doucouré, Alan, and André Gomes. Everton blasted off the start of the season with a Calvert-Lewin breakthrough and James reincarnation. The Colombian gave 3 assists in his first 7 Premier League games and scored the same number of goals. And even though Everton stalled after a brisk start, the end from James remains one of the main events we have witnessed so far. This was our top 5 list of the new players who immediately strengthened their clubs. We believe that this list is not complete and can be easily extended by 5, 10, or even more players. For example, the transfers of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Timothy Castagne, or Luis Suarez have also turned out as complete bargains. So, with your help, we would like to extend this episode with another 5 players who, in your opinion, demonstrate top-class performance right from the start of the season. Share your list in the comments, and do not forget to like this video to help us grow. You have been with Football Geeks, and we'll see you soon.